Satnam, yogis and yoginis, hello and welcome back. Today we have a questions and answers session, kind of special session for this summer. It's very warm in here and I hope the fan doesn't bother you. I hope the sound is not picked up by the microphone. But yeah, I received an email from one of our viewers, Jay Amarkor, Karina, and she was asking quite a lot of questions. And I thought, well, replying in an email to her would take me a long time, and also it would only serve her. While if I do it in a video, her questions are very relevant to things that I speak about in the videos, and so it could serve you as well. And I always encourage you to, anyone can write a question in the chat or in the comments on the video. And I've been a little bit late in answering the comments lately, but I will catch up with all the last messages. But for the moment, I had this email that it was a little bit old and I had not replied to it. I have another one from you, Jay Amar. So if you're watching this video, then I will address that one as well, but after the summer. For this one in particular, she's asking questions especially about numbers. So we'll talk about that. But first of all, let me just say a few things. That's a beautiful name, Jay Amarkor. Jay in Hindi or Sanskrit or Gurumukhi, it could be something like victory or like hail someone, to acclaim someone. So victory is more fateh. Sometimes we say fateh, yeah, but Jay is like Jay. And there is this beautiful mantra, Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ramo. It's a wonderful mantra, and I always, when I hear Jai, I always come back to that mantra. So Jai Amar, and Amar means the immortal one or the eternal. So it's like hail the immortal one, yeah, or victory, immortal victory, or the victory of the immortal one. But also Amar in Spanish means to love. So that's a beautiful name. So Jay Amarkor, today this video is for responding your questions. And I will not put the email here in the screen because I can just read aloud some of the questions, and in case there's something private, I can just skip it. I haven't really read the full email. I just saw it was a long email, and so I decided to do it like this publicly. So you did a training in Holland. That's wonderful, the Karan Kriya training, and you are familiar with the numbers. And so some of your questions are interesting. So that's why I'm doing this video openly. Let's say, first question. So a client in a consultation, that's a Karan Kriya consultation, asks about finding a partner. And this client has done all the imaginable things one can do, going out and being open and willing to invest into a relationship. And still they don't find someone. They get impatient and they ask me what else is there to do. Let's suppose that this client has a 9 in the 4 and 6. Can the consultant refer to a hukam in this case? Well, first of all, let me just draw the 9 in the 4 and 6 so that people know what we mean by the 9 in the 4 and 6. So if this is the date of birth that we are talking about, normally we draw it like this. We don't know anything about this person. We don't know if it's real or not. This is just a question that you are presenting, so I will not assume it's any person in particular. But let's say that they have a 9 here. All right, this is the 4 and 6, and they have a 9. And as she's talking about, not finding a partner, and you are wondering whether to ask about the hukam. Well, first of all, if we are talking about partnership, generally when we talk about marriage, for example, that would be the central number, number 5. But when we are talking about partnership before it becomes an actual marriage, somebody for life, when it's somebody that you are starting to go out with that person, it depends on where you're going to be looking at depending on which quadrant. So let me explain a little bit better. Because if it's generally in love in generally, yes, it is 4 and 6. So that's the right quadrant to look when you're looking about love. But when we are looking about relationships, the 4 and 6 quadrant is relationship to children. Although, yes, her relationship to love is going to be here. So if there is an issue about her loving other people and trusting other people, feeling open to love somebody, then this is the quadrant that we would be looking at, the trust and the love. And you mentioned in the email something about impatience, like she's getting impatient. Oh, well, I just assumed something. I just said she. But I don't know. I don't think you mentioned, you said just client. So that's another point as well. Because if it's a man or it's a woman, you could also check how is the relationship to the other sex. So for the relationship to mother is this quadrant, relationship to father is this quadrant. Therefore, the relationship to the female energy and to the male energy is here. So let me just imagine, for example, that you are talking about a female client. And so this lady, this girl, she is talking about how her ex-partners are behaving in some way and she cannot find a new guy and whatever. So you can explore how is her relationship to the male energy through this quadrant. And that could come in origin from relationship to her father, but in general, the relationship of the male to the male energy will come through this quadrant. And the same with a man, and his relationship to the female energy will come through this quadrant. So any man, you first learn that you are a man by contrast. So you recognize that you are different from your mother because it's a different energy. And that's how you learn that you are a man. So your relationship to the mother is what gives you your feeling of manliness, let's say. The 1 and 9 is manliness, and that's the relationship to mother. That's why we put the relationship to mother over here. But okay, let me just assume now that through the consultation you recognize that there was some issue about love. I'm not pointing out that it's about men or it's about women. It's about love. It's about trusting, opening herself or himself to somebody and feeling and expressing that love. And so you rightly, through that point, from that point, you go to this quadrant. And then you realize there is a 9 here. And you say, well, it could be that she's getting impatient about love not coming, or, this is the quadrant of destiny as well. So what's my destiny? No? What's the love that I'm going to be living in this life? When is it going to come? And she gets impatient. So that's the setup. And so you ask, can I ask her? You ask 3 questions on that point. I was just introducing the topic. Let's get back to the questions. So can the consultant refer to who come? Is it right to see 4 and 6 as the relationship with the lover and 5 and 10 the relationship with the husband and wife? Okay, so that's the question I was just answering before. And yes, 4 and 6 would be relationship to lover, but also relationship to children. So it depends on how you look at it. We sometimes say that we learn about pure unconditional love through our relationship to children, because human male to female, female to male, human person to person love, it's very biased and it's very conditional. It has a lot of things attached to it. And sometimes we touch neutrality, we touch a moment of pure inspiration, pure love, but very soon that feeling turns into an emotion, and it turns into attachment and needs, and if you are not with me, I need you, and that's not love. So not love in the pure way, let's say. And there is, in yoga we have these 2 concepts, and because you have this spiritual name, and you've done the Karan Kriya consultancy training, I imagine you may have been doing the Kundalini yoga as well. So if you did the level 2, remember that there is this Pyare and Prem. Yeah, in the authentic relationships we learn about Pyare and Prem. So the Pyare kind of love, it's very human, and it's needs and dependencies, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's also part of a relationship. But the purest Prem kind of love, we sometimes discover that love within us when we are father and mother for the first time, when we have children in our hands, and then you realize there is something much higher in your expression of this love. And that's why the 4 and 6 is relationship to children and also relationship to love. So, and then when you actually commit to somebody and you engage into like a marriage, that's the 5 and 10. That's the relationship to your partner. In general, yes, 4 and 6 is relationship to lover. So you ask if we can refer to hukam. If the client has a 9 in the 4 and 6, can referral to the hukam be appropriate? Or does it have to be a 9 in the 5 and 10? Well, okay. So let's for a moment, 9, first of all, in case somebody's listening and they don't know what hukam is. Hukam is when what we call the divine will. It's like there is some divine intelligence guiding this universe. You can call it God, you can call it anything you want, but there is some intelligence, there is some guidance to something higher, that if we align ourselves with this guidance, our life is a life of harmony. And if we go astray from this guidance, we live in disharmony and conflict. So it is reasonable to say, well, how can I know what this divine intelligence knows from me, wants from me? And it's not that it wants something from you, but there is a way to act more in alignment with nature and the divine. And so you can ask for a hukam, ask for a direction, ask for guidance. And some people will say, well, I don't believe in God. That if you wish, and if you do believe in your soul, you can just say, I'm asking for the guidance from my own soul or from my higher self. Doesn't matter. You can ask for the hukam, and generally we do that with a sacred book. We open the book randomly, yeah. You make a prayer and you ask for it to guide you, and you open the book, and whatever comes up, that's the message for you. That's the hukam. So hukam is number 9. That's the guidance, the alignment. And a hukam will be useful anywhere, wherever the 9 is. So you're asking the 9 in the 4 and 6 or the 9 in the 5 and 10. And yes, it could be like that. So you could ask for guidance, for what kind of hukam can guide me in my relationship to love. So that would be okay to do the hukam in the 4 and 6. Let me see what else do you ask, because I have more to say, but let me see what else was in the question. Okay, the other question was about something else. So let me just answer with this 9 in the 4 and 6 and the hukam thing. I mean, if it's a consultation, you can do that, and if the client is open to doing that, you can even do the hukam right there with the person. You can get a book that they agree with and ask them to do a hukam with you. You make a prayer, because 4 and 6 is prayer, or you ask them to meditate if they have some reluctance to prayer. Just connect, concentrate, meditate, make a prayer, ask for guidance. Guidance is the 9, and open the book and then see what comes up, and maybe hoping that is going to bring some clarity, number 6, that can unravel what's happening here, the blockage. Blockage is 4. So but that's standing from the perspective that the issue is here, right? And sometimes this is not the issue. Sometimes I'm just saying this could be the outcome, right? You're talking about the impatience, and that's certainly the number 9, and it could be here, but maybe they get to the impatience from somewhere else. Maybe their sequence is not starting from the 4, but maybe starting from the 1. I do the example of the 1 because it ends in the 4, and also because we did 1, 2, 3, 4 in the course very recently, so people who have watched these videos, they will be familiar. And let's say they did this sequence and they ended in the 9 in the karmic way. The karmic in this case is impatient. Impatience about love and not coming, right? So that then the issue is, okay, you can address the 9 directly, but if this is not the origin of the sequence, if this origin of the sequence is here, I would rather go first here and make sure that the initial sequence starts in a dharmic way, and then that will resolve whatever karmic thing is happening here automatically. So what I would check first of all is what number is in the middle, not because this is the number of the marriage and partner, but because this is the number who is going to guide me, which is the life sequence. And if the life sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, then I will come to the first quadrant and address this first quadrant to see what happens next. And however, maybe the number in the middle is 6, and then it starts from this quadrant. In that case, yes, definitely what you are saying. Then the issue is when we start from this 9 and 9 becoming impatience. A good example is my date of birth. My date of birth starts with a 9 in the second quadrant. Then I have 6, 5, 11, and it goes like this. But the origin of the sequence is with a 9. So yeah, definitely, very often I need to address this 9. If I don't address this 9, it can become impatience or imperfection or perfectionist or being too hard on myself. And that will create anxiety and or fear or pain. And then it's going to manifest all throughout, the path. So, but that's the origin of the sequence. So in the case of this client, this supposed client, you will have to check what is in here. Sometimes it's better if you just give me the whole date of birth and I work with it, but I imagine this is like an imaginary case, and that's why there is no actual date of birth for this case. But yeah, let's assume this was a 6 or a 4. So that means we start from here. Then indeed, you can start with the 9. And Hukam is one possibility. You can approach it from many ways with this 9. But yeah, guidance is one possible way, and definitely you can do a Hukam with them and help them to bring clarity and understand consciously what the Hukam is. And even so, through the understanding, through bringing clarity and consciousness to the meaning of the Hukam, then you can help them also to commit to some change if they feel ready. Now, those of you who know numbers, and probably you do it, you recognize my whole language was the 4 and 6. Commitment, when you are ready, clarity and consciousness, it's all language to understand what is, understand not in the intellectual way, but in a conscious way, have the understanding that the clarity of what this message is for you, what's the guidance for you. I mean, that clarity is going to bring you the understanding, right? The sequence is 4, 3, 2, 1, because the sequence is going to go like that. If we are approaching from the 9, it's going to go in this way. I'm not going to draw it because there is something else you ask in the email, and I will go into that in a moment. So having a clarity of what the message is and the guidance, the 9 is part kind of like this message, that's going to bring some understanding. And then you can make a plan of action if you wish, because it was quite practical at the beginning, like this client did everything they felt they needed to do, like being open, going out, and presenting themselves. Okay, so maybe from this 9, with the clarity of the guidance, now we can make some action, change our point of view and the way we see the world and the things that we do in the world. So that's the next step. I speak really abstractly because we don't have the person in front. We would have to talk to them to realize how does this affect them and how does it manifest in them. But I speak abstract enough that hopefully is applicable to that particular case as well. I hope this is being informative and useful to everybody else. Anybody who is listening to this video, is just a study case on a particular example. And that's always useful. Study cases are useful because we learn a lot about numbers in practice in the grid. Okay, now you give me a different question, and you say, when somebody has a number 11 in the 1 and 9, 11 in the 1 and 9. So let me draw this. Now, an 11 in the 1 and 9 definitely doesn't give a 9, so that's going to be a different person. You're talking about a different possibility, different client. Yeah, in this client we were saying this is the sequence you would be asking about, whether it starts from here or whether it ended up in that frustration and impatience. Yeah, so we have to check which is the direction. Let's find a new one. You said they have an 11 here. All right. An 11 which adds up to 2. Yeah, when we have an 11, we have to 2 in the 1 and 9 quadrant. This is 1 and 9. All right, let's read the message. So let's say somebody in the year 2011, for example. 8 to 3 would be softer because 8 plus 3 is 11, then it becomes 2 as well. But it kind of also is an 11. But let's say 2011. So we're talking about a teenager. Let's see what comes up. When somebody has a number 11 in the 1 and 9 quadrant, now 11 can mean standing next to God. Yes, the number 11 is something that we sometimes use it to relate to this mantra, God and me and God are one. God is the big one, I am the little one. Yeah, so we are 11. Okay. Can that also mean the feeling of standing next to the mother? And if so, does that mean that the client can have the feeling of standing on one line with the mother, having a good accord? Okay. Definitely, that 11 is in the quadrant in relationship to the mother. Let's ignore this now. Okay, don't pay attention to this now. Only look at this quadrant. Let me do a hard zoom with the camera. Okay. Hold on a second. Hydration. It's so warm today. It's so hot. All right. Number 11, number 2. Okay, so definitely this is the relationship to the mother, but what can that mean? You said about being in good accord with her and being in parallel with her. Did you say parallel? No, I think I made it up. Standing next to the mother, on one line with the mother. Well, it's not one line with the mother. So it's not the same line. You have your own line, your mother has her own line. And number 11 is funny, eh? We were talking about the 9 before, and now we talk about 11, and I started my date of birth from the 9 and I end up in the 11. It's probably a coincidence, but yeah. So the 11 is not on one line, both on the same line. Actually, in this case, we would see that the mother has one line and you have one line. And in the case of this 11 in the 1 and 9, probably the mother is the big one and you are the little one. So you will find your mom is like God in a way and you are the little one. Now, that can be both karmic and dharmic, as usual, as always. In a karmic way, this can become, the 11 turns into a 2. And then there is all sort of duality and fight, like two snakes fighting with each other because your mother wants you to go in the same line as her, and she's the bigger one, so she wants to pull you away in that direction. You are the little one, and you want to keep your own line. But maybe you live together, or you are very close to each other. If this is somebody who was born in 2011, we're talking about a girl, let's say, or a boy, but let's say a girl from 2011 that's 14 years old, adolescence is starting, and then she's starting to realize what it means to become a woman, and then the mother wants to go this way, and she's feeling like, I want to do my own thing, which is the one, her little one, express the little one. And that 11 turns into a 2, and that could be conflict in a number of ways. So that's how the 11 could manifest in a karmic way. In a dharmic way, definitely it can be like two lines parallel to each other, and the mother is a good example to you, and you are a good example to her as well. And you are in line, and when she needs to adjust, you adjust with her. When you adjust, she adjusts with you, and there is a perfect harmony between the two lines. That's quite a beautiful comparison, God and me being God, or my mother and I. And also there is this idea that children idealize their parents when they are little. So they put them on a pedestal and they think they are God in a way. And in a certain way they are, in a very archetypical way. Yeah, the baby is put in the arms of the mother, and there is this incredible, beautiful face. Yeah, and her warmth and her voice and her everything is, as a baby, 9 months in the belly, is the aura, the energy, the feeling, the smell. Everything is what you need, is what you want, right? And she gives you this big breast, and then you are drinking this incredible liquid that is everything you need, yeah, the milk, and it's like, oh, my mother, right? So I can imagine how this is baby seeing the mother like a god. And then slowly they have to separate both of them. And actually, this separation, this cutting of the umbilical cord, it can be pretty hard, especially also for the mother. And that could be the thing that changes from the 2 to the 11. So as long as the umbilical cord is there and the mother wants you to follow her line, and then the umbilical cord is not cut. And sometimes what we say in Karankriya is that the child needs to cut the umbilical cord. We say this especially about boys. I just gave the example of a girl and her mother, but about a boy particularly, the boy needs to cut the umbilical cord. So at some point, the boy who wants to become a man, he has to separate from the mother in some way. And it doesn't mean go away, but 11 is separate. The 11 is, there is a separation. But it's so, if you are living with a person or you are very close to that person, especially with a mother, because you were united once, it's so easy to want to go back to being one. And when they go back, it doesn't go back to one. These 11, when they go back to a 2. And the 2 is the conflict and the problems. So cutting the cord and still staying in parallel, that's mastery, and it's a beautiful thing when you find it. But yeah, that would be the dharmic expression of the 11. And then you ask, the gift to the mother from the number 11, what can that be? Some examples of that. Well, I just give a few examples to this. It's like being able to walk, the gift that the mother gives to you. It could be 2 different things, because this number here is not necessarily the gift that your mother gives to you. It's also the gift that you receive from having that mother, which is slightly different, right? But remember that our soul, when we chose to incarnate in a family, we chose that mother, and we chose it because we needed to learn something. Sometimes we learn from what you have to do. Sometimes you learn what you don't have to do, right? So we choose a mother that we don't want to be like her in some things, right? And that not wanting to do something like her, that's your negative mind in a good expression of the negative mind. So that could be like, all right, so the gift I received from having that mother is to learn that I will never do things like that. Right? Maybe there is some karmic thing that you noticed in her, you were conscious of it, and she wasn't conscious of it, and it was a karma and something that was being carried on through that lineage from the past, from your ancestors, let's say. And this ancestral karma is coming through her, and you recognize it, and you are conscious enough to say, I'm not going to repeat that with my children the day I become mothers. And that's a gift. So it's not something that she is giving to you, but it's something that you are receiving by having that mother. And the gift is somehow, we often say that this quadrant is your soul's gift. Yeah, this is the soul, the 1 and 9. So in a way, this is what you worked in previous lives. And when you come to this lifetime, you already worked on this, so you received this gift. In the case of number 2, that would be to be able to apply the negative mind in that very elevated way, very pure, very refined way, would be innocence and purity, could be, loyalty, obedience. Those are virtues of number 2. Now, when you get to the 11, you're asking, so what are the virtues of the 11? Well, it will contain a little bit of that, of those qualities. I would say the 11 is the ability to stay parallel to somebody and not converge, not diverge. Stay parallel and both loyal to each other. The loyalty is there. And innocently, purely keep the balance, keep the harmony, keep the dance. I see the 11 as a dance. So can we keep the dance? And that in a consultation can be a good expression. Is can you dance with your mother, let's say, in a metaphorical way, right? Whatever is happening from her, whatever is happening from me, can there be a dance between both of us? And that dance will respect the polarity as well. So even if it's a boy and the mother, which is a woman, that's going to be a polarity as well. But there can be a dance of polarities within that. Again, I'm being a little bit abstract, but it's unless you know more details on the person and the situation, it's difficult to be more precise. And then let's go to the next. And there's quite a lot of questions, so I'm going to do a few, and another day I will do the rest. Today, let's do one more, let's say. In Let the Numbers Guide You, I read that when one has the 11 in the first quadrant, the whole journey of life is to realize your innocence and to recognize that scarcity is your greatest resource. Let me read it again. This is Shiv Charan's words. The whole journey of life, that's the one journey of life from 1 to 4 and 10, actually from 1 to 11, the whole journey of life is to realize your innocence. The virtue of innocence is 2, and to recognize that scarcity, that's also the 2, 8 is generally abundance, 2 is scarcity, is your greatest resource. Scarcity is your greatest resource. Okay. And then you ask a few questions on this sentence from Shiv Charan. Can it be innocence in relationship to the mother, also to the universal mother? Yes, absolutely. If we are talking about mothers, then yes, innocence in relationship to the mother. Innocence also means there is no guilt, there is no shame. That can be quite powerful as well. Approach it from, maybe your mother is trying to throw something in your face. I come from a perspective of innocence. No blame, no shame, right? That kind of attitude, which is releasing the mental games. But also your mother is innocent, right? You are innocent in front of your mother. Remember, 1 in 1 is 1 in front of the other. And your mother is innocent in front of you. Whatever happens, even whatever she does, she's also innocent from that. And remember, if you receive your gift of having such a mother, even if it's the gift of learning what not to do, remember that she is innocent, that her soul is pure, and she also came into that family, and she also inherited that karma from the feminine line of that family. So she was also subjected to that karma, and she is innocent in a way. So can you relate to the purity of her soul? And I refer to the soul especially because this is the 1 and 9, and so there is an innocence in the soul. Yeah, and reduce everything to the innocence. Yeah, 1 is going back to the origin, to the beginning, to the smallest thing. So go back to the innocence. So that would be definitely a healthy approach, no matter what what the qualities of her mother or his mother are. Next is, what does it mean scarcity is your greatest resource? Well, I think it's something to meditate on, which means, I don't know. Scarcity is your greatest resource. I'm gonna give it a spin to it. When you feel that you are empty and you feel needy and void and sad, because these are qualities of number 2 coming from the scarcity, that emptiness gives you a certain hunger to move on, to move forward, to figure out where to go, what to do. That longing can empower your prayer, your actions, your emotion is a form of motion. Yeah, it's an energy for motion, right? Energy in motion, and energy can bring you into motion. So that passion, that sadness, that longing, that feeling of scarcity, feeling of needs, feeling void, feeling empty. Well, empty, let's fill it up. But don't just try to fill it up from the perspective of the positive mind, which is filling the gap so I don't feel empty, but actually hunger for the world, hunger for life, hunger for passionate for life, rather than it becoming a pain and and always complaining. And rather than that, is like let that passion fuel devotion, my movement forward. So that's one take. I just came to me right now. I'm sure there's other ways to express it. If you have any ideas, if you are watching this video and listen to this, what does it say to you? Write it in the comments. Scarcity is your greatest resource. What is it for you? Two more sub-questions within the question. When one has an 11 in the 2 and 8, is the 11 then not in relationship to innocence because that is not written there? I don't understand your question. If the 11 is not in relation to innocence, because that is not written there, I don't understand the question. But when one has the 11 in the 2 and 8, so if the 11 was here, everything I said about the mother would be in relationship to the father. And I'm not sure how to approach that because I'm not understanding the questions. You will have to rephrase it somehow. And can it be realizing the innocence in relation to the father? Oh, I see. Yeah, definitely. So I guess that's the explanation. Yeah, that's the same as I said with the mother, that this can be realized in your own innocence in relationship to the mother. This could be realized in your own innocence in relationship to the father, but also realizing that your mother is innocent, realizing that your father is innocent. And remember, we say we need to forgive our fathers. So in a way, to realize that they are innocent. So the 11 which is a 2, right? Being born on the 11th of the second quadrant would ask of you to recognize the innocence of your father. Yeah, so that's a good expression. Well, that was quite a lot. And that was only, let's see how much more is. That was only half of the email. So we have more stuff to cover in the following video or in another. I'm not sure the following will be the same. But yeah, I like this. I enjoy this. There is this thing in yoga that we say, a teacher is like a book. You got to open it and read it, which in a way means you have to go and ask questions. Otherwise, the book is just still and it doesn't do anything. Satnam, Ardaas, a 7 in the middle, what would mean? Julia, hello, Satnam, good to see you here. A 7 in the middle, it can be so very many things, Julia. But let me show you just one thing. This is the general diagram we have for the qualities of each quadrant. Hold on, refocus, zip. So the 5 and the 10 is, oh, hold on, that's not the one I wanted. I mean, yeah, identity and listening, yeah, that's also. Here it is. Is it focused? Better. So having a 7 in the middle. Oh, look, this is a good example, yeah? 7 from 34. It can be also from 25 or 43. So what does it mean? Well, you have to consider all the numbers where the 7 comes from. But in general, 7, you can look at it in the perspective of, it can always be karmic or dharmic. So there is some karmic ways and there is some dharmic ways that the 7 can express. And we know that 7 is the number of the mind. The mind likes to judge. It likes to look at things and emit some form of evaluation of what's happening and judging it. It tends to have preconceptions and fantasies and expectations. So because it's in the central number is the one that affects all the time, everywhere, always. And that's the number that directs the life sequence. So what's happening with the mind, it's fundamental. So Julia, if that is your number in the center, that means that it's fundamental that your relationship to the mind is the beginning of all the main life sequences. So that's fundamental. And therefore, I don't know if you watch the videos we have on number 7. We have 10 videos on that in this channel. You can watch them. And they talk about the karmic and the dharmic versions. And the biggest issue that happens with the mind is mind games. All the things that I talked about just now, expectations, judgments, all those things are mind games. So It's fundamental to deal with those. Now, being in the center, it means that it's fundamental because that's the main window into the world and also the beginning of the sequence. Now, specifically in the fifth quadrant, what does it mean? It means that that 7 is in relationship also to what is happening in this quadrant. So that's the relationship to the partner. So in the marriage, that's about communication. So, for example, in the communication or the marriage, let me just give a few examples. Communication would be communicating from the mind. Yeah, tending to communicate what the mind is saying, to say what you're thinking before even stopping, right? That's a thing with the 7 and the 5. Or just then judge the communication of others, right? That's the other way around. That's the 7 looking at the 5. Looking at how other people communicate. And because the 7 has some expectations and some views, it interpret what others are saying and judging that. That's the karmic way. Now, the dharmic is forgiveness. The 7, the dharmic way is mercy. The 7, it can become transparent, and it's a platform for elevation, and it's colorful. So how about a colorful language? Yeah, 7 colors of the rainbow. Having a colorful language, which is actually a useful skill that can help you communicate with many different people. And with the clarity of the 7, when it's become transparent, without the mind games, you can see that that person needs to communicate in this kind of frequency, like this color, let's say. And I'm going to be communicating in yellow with her. And with him, I'm going to communicate in blue. It's a metaphor, but have you ever thought about this? Like, I'm going to talk blue to this person. It's just kind of funny, but this girl, I'm going to talk pink to her, or purple, or black, I don't know. But in a way, it's find the right frequency or color that you need to communicate with the other. And that's actually a good skill because many people, they speak the same way to everybody. And then they are not flexible enough that they can reach the other person. Also, because it's the 7, if you understand the mind of the other person you're communicating with, you can get in tune with that mind much better. Yeah, 5 is tuning in, so get in tune with that mind. And also, this is the quadrant of 5 and 10. Let's not forget the 10. So 10 is the listening. So also listening to the mind in the other, listening to... I'm just taking an example of 7 as mind, but 7 can be also different things, yeah? And the same with the marriage. Is a communication through the mind? Is a colorful marriage? Something like that. Sometimes I feel that transparency can be an obstacle. It makes it different to deal with me, but it is okay. Transparency can be an obstacle. It makes it different to deal with me. What do you mean? And what do you understand by transparency? Because when I talk about transparency of the mind, I mean when we have purified enough our mind games that our view of the world has no filters in between. And, Patanjali talks about no games can be strange. Yeah, exactly. No games. Well, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. So I was just saying, Patanjali talks about this, right? What is yoga? Yoga is when the chitta vritti is nirodha, yeah? When the fluctuations of consciousness and the mind cessate, stop, and then we abide in our own nature. Now, when we are not doing that, what happens? Then our mind becomes colorful. We start seeing through colored lenses in the world. Now, to be able to remove the klishta, yeah? Removing all these colors from our vision, no games, like you say, Julia, or Julia, I don't know. In Spanish would be Julia, but Julia, I'm not sure. So to actually purely clean all those games, that's actually a quite weird, different, strange, like you are saying. And it can be challenging. 5 is challenging, right? A challenging type of communication. Or people may find it challenging to communicate when you are able to go into that transparency. That transparency, full transparency, that's when we are fully in samadhi. But let's say we touch it sometimes. En castellano es Julia, yes, exactly. So, okay, so Julia, it's about I think all these yogic virtues, the closer you get to them, that's unusual. And so people may find it strange. And you say, it makes it different to deal with me, but it is okay. So it's okay. Yeah, let me be the strange one. And by the way, that's number 9, the strange one. That's the expression of the number 9. We were talking before about number 9 in the case that Jay Amar was talking about in relationship to love. So yeah, love the strange. Yeah, love. You remember this when we were talking at this? Love the strange things, love the stranger, right? And love the strange unknown, the mystery, loving the mystery. Actually, that's a lovely expression. This is the mystery, right? And the 6 is the unknown. 6 is the unknown, 9 is the mystery. So, and can we love the mystery? That's a lovely, lovely thing. We don't know what's going to happen, but can we love that anyway? That's your gift? Yeah, exactly. So that's nice. Your gift is the 9, I guess. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Yeah, we are strange, but we are fine. Especially, when we are studying Karankriya, I understand our trainings are full of 9s. 9 is the number of numbers. So if we're interested in numbers, we already are strange people. But, I'm fine with being strange. And actually, I think most people feel different. Most people feel strange and isolated. And that's probably the thing that connects us all. So we are united through the isolation, the feeling of isolation and feeling weird and feeling different, feeling the alien in the family or something like that. But yeah, aliens are welcome in this channel. So thank you, Julia, for being here and for the question. Yeah, I think it will be enough for today, for this video. And I will continue addressing more questions in another video. And thank you, Julia, for being here and writing. I appreciate the questions in the moment because that also stimulates the conversation. And that's why I do these videos. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for supporting as well. Until next time, Satnam.